You probably know someone who's in a terrible relationship, maybe a friend, maybe a family member, maybe you. From the outside, it looks obvious. They're miserable. They keep crying, complaining, saying, "I'm done this time," and then the next week, they're back together. Same person, same problems, same pain. People watching from the outside say things like, "Why don't they just leave? If it were me, I'd be gone. They must be weak or stupid or addicted to drama." But that's not what's really happening. People stay in toxic relationships for reasons that are deeply psychological, not because they enjoy suffering. It's about attachment, fear, brain chemistry, and habits that grow slowly over time until leaving feels harder than staying. In this story, we're going to walk through the main traps that keep people stuck: the fear of being alone, the comfort of the familiar, the trauma bond and intermittent rewards, low self-esteem and shame gaslighting, and reality distortion, and the hope that they'll change one day. We're not here to blame anyone. We're here to understand the mind games inside and outside your head that make just leave almost impossible. Let's start with the most basic human need, the need to belong. Psychologists say humans are wired with a powerful drive to form close relationships. We would rather be connected badly than be completely alone. So imagine a simple cartoon scene. On one side, you have a character standing alone in an empty room. No color, no sound, just silence. On the other side, you have the same character in a messy, noisy room with a partner who sometimes shouts, sometimes hugs, sometimes slams doors, sometimes says, "I love you." Which one feels more alive? Which one feels less terrifying? For many people, the answer is, I'd rather have something than nothing. Loneliness can feel like a physical pain. If your whole identity is built around a relationship, we, us, our plans, our future, then the idea of being single isn't just sad. It feels like your whole life will explode into emptiness. So when people say, "Why don't you leave?" their brain silently answers, "Because I don't want to disappear." Next trap: comfort in the familiar, even when the familiar hurts. Toxic relationships are not 100% bad 100% of the time. If they were, no one would stay. Most of the time, they're a looping pattern. Tension, conflict, explosion, apology, honeymoon, repeat. At first, this cycle is confusing. Over time, it becomes predictable. You know when your partner is in a good mood. You know when to stay quiet. You know what topics to avoid, what jokes not to make, how to walk on eggshells without making noise. It's painful, but it's also familiar. Your brain learns the rule book of that relationship like learning the controls of a video game. It may be a horrible game, but at least you know how to play. Now picture leaving. New apartment, new bills, new identity, maybe new city, new job, new life. That's not just change, that's chaos. So the brain compares two pictures. Picture A, pain you already understand. Picture B, unknown future that could be better or worse. And your fear whispers, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. Now we get to one of the strongest psychological traps: trauma bonding. A trauma bond forms when love and abuse get mixed together in the same relationship, in an unpredictable on-off pattern. One day, your partner is cruel. They insult you, ignore you, disappear, yell, or threaten to leave. You feel terrified, rejected, empty. Then suddenly, they switch. They apologize. They cry. They say, "I'm nothing without you." They buy you gifts. They touch you gently. They say, "I promise I'll change." Your brain goes from pain to intense relief. That contrast, from emotional hell to emotional heaven, creates a powerful, addictive rush. In psychology, this is called intermittent reinforcement. You don't get the reward every time, only sometimes, and you never know when. Slot machines work like this. You pull the lever many times and lose, then suddenly you win. The randomness keeps you hooked. In a toxic relationship, your partner is the slot machine. You endure 10 bad moments for one really good one. That one good moment feels so intense that your brain says, "See, they can be loving. You just have to hold on a little longer." So you stay. Not because the relationship is mostly good, but because the rare good moments feel like oxygen after you've been drowning. Over time, your brain links relief to the person who hurt you in the first place. That's the trauma bond. You start to feel like only they can calm the pain they created. Another trap is a low self-esteem. At the beginning, many toxic partners idealize you. They say things like, "You're the best thing that ever happened to me. No one understands me like you do." Then, slowly, the script flips. Criticism becomes more frequent. You hear, "You're too sensitive. You're crazy. No one else would put up with you. You're lucky I stay." At first, you argue back in your head, "That's not true. I know my worth." But after hearing the same message 100 times from someone you love, your brain starts to doubt itself. Maybe I am too much. Maybe I do ruin everything. Maybe this is the best I'll ever get. The relationship becomes a mirror that only shows your flaws. You stop trusting your own reflection. Low self-esteem becomes both a cause and a consequence of staying. You stay because you don't think you deserve better. And the longer you stay, the more your confidence is destroyed. From the outside, it looks like choosing pain. From the inside, it feels like, "This is all I'm worth." Now add gaslighting to the mix. Gaslighting is when someone repeatedly makes you doubt your own perception, your own memory, and even your sanity. You say, "You yelled at me yesterday." They say, "No, I didn't. You're exaggerating." You say, "That really hurt me." They answer, "You're too sensitive. Nobody else would be upset by that." You catch them in a lie. They turn it around. You're paranoid. You're imagining things. You're the problem. Again and again, they rewrite the story. Slowly, you stop trusting your own mind. So now imagine trying to leave. Leaving requires certainty. Something is wrong. I deserve better. I'm not crazy for wanting out. But if your reality has been twisted for months or years, you don't feel certain about anything. You think, maybe it really is my fault. Maybe I'm the toxic one. Maybe I'm overreacting and I'll regret leaving. Gaslighting doesn't just trap you with the other person. It traps you inside your own doubts. Then there is fear, not just emotional fear, practical fear. Leaving a toxic relationship can mean losing financial support, losing a home, losing access to children, losing a shared social circle, facing anger, stalking, or revenge. If your partner controls the money or has more power legally or socially, then walking away feels dangerous, not freeing. Some people stay because they are literally afraid of what will happen if they go. They fear being hurt, being smeared, being isolated, being punished. When survival is on the line, the brain chooses the option that looks slightly less dangerous, even if that option is deeply unhappy. From the outside, people see only the emotional drama. They don't see the hidden calculations. Where would I live? How would I feed my kids? What if they follow me? Sometimes staying is not a lack of courage, it's a lack of safe options. And finally, one of the strongest glues of all, hope. Hope that they'll change, Hope that the good version of them will come back and stay. Hope that the story isn't over yet. You remember the early days, the dates, the late-night talks, the sweet messages, the feeling of finally being seen. You think if they were like that once, maybe they can be like that again. Every small positive sign, a soft moment, a thoughtful gesture, a few weeks without a fight, feels like proof that your patience is working. Meanwhile, every bad episode gets pushed into a folder in your mind labeled, maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe they were stressed. Maybe I triggered it. You build a fantasy version of the relationship in your head, stitched together from the best 5% of moments. And you stay for the fantasy, not for the reality. So why do we stay in toxic relationships? Because our brains are wired for connection, even at a high cost. Because familiar pain feels safer than unknown freedom. Because intermittent kindness mixed with cruelty creates a powerful trauma bond that feels like love. Because years of criticism and gaslighting can destroy our ability to trust ourselves. Because fear of loneliness, of poverty, of retaliation makes a starting over look terrifying. And because hope is stubborn. We keep believing that if we love hard enough, wait long enough, change ourselves enough, the other person will finally become the partner we need. If you see yourself in any of this, it doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. Your brain is doing exactly what human brains do, trying to avoid loneliness, trying to reduce fear, trying to hold on to the few moments of safety it can find. Understanding these patterns is not a magic exit door, but it is the first crack in the wall when you can say, this isn't just my fault, this is a trauma bond, or I'm not crazy, I'm being gaslit. The spell starts to break. You begin to see the relationship not as your destiny, but as a system, a set of repeated behaviors that can be observed, named, and eventually changed. Leaving a toxic relationship is complicated. Sometimes it takes a safety plan, support from friends or professionals, time, money, and a lot of gentle self-talk. But one thing is simple. You deserve more than a life built on fear, confusion, and rare crumbs of affection. Real love doesn't make you feel small. It doesn't keep you guessing. It doesn't hurt you, then tell you the pain is your fault. If this story feels uncomfortably familiar, consider this not an order, but an invitation. An invitation to question the cycle, to notice when the slot machine relationship is paying you in tiny hits of relief instead of real safety. To remember that being alone is often less lonely than sitting next to someone who constantly breaks you down. You're not trapped because you're weak. You're trapped because powerful psychological forces are working exactly as designed. Once you can see them, you can start to loosen their grip, one small, brave decision at a time.
Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great day.